Hey guys, I'm Brax. This video is about general tips to improve your overall game. I think it has a lot to do with your approach to the game, what you actively do to improve. Some players watch their own replays from their perspective, and once you watch your own replay from your own perspective, it's really easy to nitpick and say, oh, why did I do this? Or, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or I shouldn't, play up so far because this guy's missing. I need to look out for Spirit Breaker all the time, or whatever. Once you start watching yourself play, there's a lot more things that you'll start to think about that maybe in the game you weren't thinking about. And then it's easy to kind of lock in on one of these areas and just focus on it over and over. And something else you can also do is watch from player perspectives of other players. Like maybe the guy you're laning against, or maybe, other popular players like Arteezy or something. Watch how these guys approach the game, watch what they think about, what they look at. If they're playing a certain hero, what do they look for to fight? If they're playing Queen of Pain, maybe they wait for their level 6 before they really try to kill someone or something. Every hero has these small individual timings where they become really, really strong, or item timings, and it's important to understand all these things in the game. Getting better is really general and broad, so it's really important to focus and break it down into one thing at a time. The easiest place to start is obviously your lane phase. It's the first thing you do in the game. You want to have a good lane phase no matter what you're playing. Doesn't matter whether you're off lane, safe lane, or mid, or support. You just need to break it down and look for things you could have done better, or look for ways that you could have pushed the lane into your favor. Like if you're mid or something, let's say your bottle comes at 3 minutes and you don't want to wait for the rune at 4 minutes before you refill your bottle core right away. There are a lot of openings and a lot of things to look out for. Let's say you're playing safe lane, you're against a dual off lane or something like that. It happens every game now. Sometimes you play against Lich Doom and it's miserable. In some of these games, you don't have the proper support to actually win your lane or do well enough, so you can't play your favorite carry, like Slark or whatever. You have to play a carry that's more lane focused, so you can actually not lose the game right from the lane phase, like Razor or something. If you're trying to win to gain MMR, then it's obviously better to just wait for your pick and pick whatever you think is best, or just pick your pick later. But if you're looking to improve, against all scenarios, even against counter picks, just pick your hero right away. And then you'll start to see habits. You'll be like, oh, I'm having a really, really hard time as Doom against Wisp or something. You'll start to see what are the heroes you need to look out for and what makes the game extremely difficult for your hero. Like when the enemies, Tri-Lance is extremely strong, it's hard for me to lane as Doom, or something like that. And maybe I should go jungle when I see this strong Tri-Lane now. You'll start to see all these scenarios where your hero is good and where your hero is bad, and then from there you'll start to develop more of an understanding for the game. And I think that's when it's better to branch out, because once you start branching out and let's say you random every game, for me, at least, it's hard to feel invested into the game. I'm playing and I really, really want to win because I'm playing, my favorite hero, Doom or whatever, and I know they have Slardar, who makes it hard for me in the mid game to actually stay alive. So I need to build armor items. I need to eat an ice creep. All these things. You'll start to understand more and more about what's good against your hero and what's bad. It's really important to stay productive in a game, because the moment you start blaming your teammates or bringing your teammates down, that's kind of when the game already ends, right? That's when you have your internal conflicts. People spend more time typing and thinking about what you said instead of actually playing the game. It's like giving up before the game's even over, right? Sometimes you can win these crazy games that go an hour long, and the enemy team throws or something miraculous happens. The moment you start blaming your team, it's like you're already giving up. Communication. It's pretty important. Even the chat wheel goes across languages. Even if you're playing with people that don't speak English or your native language or whatever, you can still do basic things like, hey, my TP's ready, or hey, I have mana boots up, let's smoke. You can chat wheel Roshan. There's a bunch of things you can do. If I'm trying really hard and I really want to win, then I'll use voice chat because it's much easier. It's much quicker, much faster. Typing is still fine too. You can tell your team basic things like, hey, let's smoke Rosh, or hey, let's go push this tower when, our Shadow Fiend gets mech. It's all good, even if it's just basic things like, hey, I'm gonna buy mana boots or something. Just something to get communication and information within your team flowing. Because sometimes you play these games, no one says anything the whole game. Everyone's just playing their own game. It's hard. That's what's normal in pubs, right? But the moment you can get your team playing together, the game becomes much, much easier for you. For map awareness, you want to look at the heroes that are a threat to you. It's important to identify the heroes that are threats to you. Like sometimes the enemy team has like a warlock or something in the safe lane as a support. You know he's not going to come gank you, or even if he does, there's a good chance he won't kill you. It's really, really important to look at timings as well. Supports pull at the 15 or 45 second mark. If you know, like if you notice that the enemy safe lane has like a double wave or something, like there's two range creeps and it's pushing into their tower, you know that they just pulled, and the chances are they're still there. You can kind of approximate how long it takes one hero to move from point A to point B. To get from like the enemy safe lane tower to like the rune, it's probably about 20 seconds. So you can use small little timings like this to kind of gauge where enemies are and kind of just guess and say, well, if he's coming for me now, I want to be safe so I have the time to back up. This kind of thing. Let's talk about Roshan. So Roshan is basically an objective that gives your team a full tower's worth of gold and a lot of experience, and it also pretty much wins you the next 5 minutes of the game. There are certain heroes that are very, very strong at taking Roshan, like Templar Assassin, for example. When she gets her death switch, she can pretty much solo Rosh on her own. It's important to understand when you can take Rosh and when the enemy can take Rosh so you can try to contest it. I'm sure everyone's played a game with Ursa in their game, and he comes out, does Roshan, he gets 2 levels off it, and then he proceeds to kick everyone's ass. That's horrible. There are a lot of heroes that can also do that. You know, when anti-mage gets Vlad's, or when someone buys the Helm of the Dominator, almost anything can do Rosh at that stage of the game. And it's if you can get your team to do Rosh before the enemy team, chances are you're going to win the game just from that one call. So it's important to look towards Rosh and try to do it whenever possible, as long as it's safe, of course. Thanks for watching, guys. Check out my stream below. And if you guys want to improve your Dota game, make sure you guys check out other guides here on Game Leap.
You move like a blue heart glacier.